Everyone, happy Sunday. Welcome back to another edition of the NHL Offseason Preview here for Vendetta Sports Media. I'm Chris Bagdonas here, joined by the man himself, hockey guy Trey. How are we doing?
I'm okay. I have so many nicknames, I almost forgot about that one.
That was the first, when I first joined, it was hockey guy Trey, and it just stuck for me ever since.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a decent one.
The-
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
mean,
do the Vegas Golden Knights off season. I figure I already kind of did one after the trade deadline by myself, and since Bagdonas is already doing the off season guides for all the teams, I figure Bagdonas can be the host, and I'll join in, and then we'll get some kind of result here. Because
Definitely.
many people already know my thoughts on it, so we'll have Bagdonas kind of guide us through it.
Yes. So I'm gonna share our good friend Cap Friendly. Obviously, they will be out of operation pretty soon, but they are awesome. I'm just gonna get the Knights up here. Okay. So obviously, when you take Robin Leonard's $5 million into account, they're gonna have just over $6 million in cap space right now. And of course, Trey, we've talked about it ad nauseum. The big piece of business for Vegas is bringing back both Jonathan Marchessault and Chandler Stevenson.
Yes, 100%. I mean, if anybody watched this team in the first round against Dallas, and I know Dallas didn't win the cup, but damn, that's a good Dallas Stars team. And the fact that they went 7, while, I mean, if that's a home game for Vegas in game 7, maybe they win.
Yeah.
I mean, and realistically, that game 7, Marchessault hits the post, Wyatt Johnston goes down and scores. If Marchessault scores, I mean, maybe they win, and who knows? I mean, and this is also a team where they were kind of rusty going into the playoffs. Like, Stone missed all that time, and Hurdle wasn't even healthy when they got him. I mean, Hurdle, I think he played like 5 regular season games before they none of these guys had even line chemistry. The only acquisition they got that actually got going was Hannafin. So I think this team, had they actually had gotten time to adjust down the second half, I think they could have won the cup this year. I think the team that they had at the end of this year was maybe the best team they've ever had, including the Stanley Cup team. So for this team to actually get some time, get them hungry, I think you bring this group back. You're prime cup contenders, in my opinion.
No question. I think lines, like you just said, lines 1 through 4, they could just beat you in any way you wanted to. They can beat you with speed and skill. They can beat you around the boards with physicality. It's like you said, only Hannafin was the first guy that they had in there, and he was, he fit like a hand in a glove. He was a great pickup, and I think you can bring the plugs in for minimum cap space. There's gonna be guys out there that will want to be here, no matter the price.
So, I guess why don't we start here? Because teams technically are allowed to go 10% over. If I'm not mistaken, they're allowed to go 10% over the cap during the off season. It's just they have to be cap compliant by day 1. So technically, we can start by just re-signing those 2 guys and seeing where we're at.
Yep. I'm going to do this. Let's create a team.
Because it's not really like other sports, and where like you can exceed the cap, you just got to be under the cap by the time the season starts.
Yep.
So I think that's probably the way to start. Let's get them both under contract and see where we're at.
Let's find these guys.
And it's going to be a matter of what's the number 2.
Let's start with Marchessault. Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I think people need to remember here is these guys probably don't want to leave, in the sense that not only is this a really good team, not only is it the place that they're already living and they have families and all that shit, but they're going to earn more money by staying just because of the no state tax. So it's one thing to leave for more money. Even if they leave for more money, how much money are they really making? Because the next landing spot, they're probably actually not making more money.
Yep.
So I think that's a huge thing to remember too. The team really has the leverage here.
Absolutely. And obviously with Marchessault, he's coming off a contract that was paying him $5 million a year. He just put up 44 goals in the regular season. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think you can say enough good things about this guy. He plays in every situation and is really a heart and soul type of player for that team.
I mean, no question about it. But in reality, he's basically the Zach Hyman for Eichel. Hyman's not scoring all these goals without McDavid.
Yep.
And I think he's smart enough to understand. Like, you go back and look at some of those playoff games. Eichel's toe dragging guys and setting him up for bunnies. So, I mean, I don't think he wants to leave. Every indication is he wants to stay, and half of his success is because Eichel's doing a lot of the dirty work here that really doesn't always get accounted for.
Absolutely. So in your mind, Trey, what do you think? I mean, you really don't have to bump it up much over $5 million, especially he's 33. He's getting up there. And as you just laid out, I mean, he doesn't want to leave. He's going to make more than he has been making. And regardless, with the tax situation, it all works out very well here. So in your mind, what number do you see him coming in at?
Well, I mean, again, maybe this sounds crazy, but you don't want to be bidding against yourself here either. Like, have you seen any other rumors that Utah planning big bid for Marchessault or Chicago planning? I mean, none of these teams have come out and said, "Oh, we want this guy," and it's because he's already 33. And sure, you can bid high for him, but at the end of the day, you might end up getting stuck with a deal when he's 36 that it's a real stinker. So, any competing team, they're probably not going to bid to the point where they're even going to outmatch Vegas in terms of, okay, you can leave, but the difference with the state tax and all that stuff, I mean, at the end of the day, it makes way too much sense for him to just resign.
Yeah. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking he doesn't need a long-term deal. I was thinking a middle term, like 3 to 4 years. Obviously, they have this window wide open, and let's just say, for argument's sake, let's do 4 years. And I was thinking almost like $5.5 million against the cap, like a little bump. But
so, I think a lot of these teams, what they do is, okay, you're not making more than this guy. So, like what the Sabres will do, nobody's making more than Dahlin. Or what the Devils do, nobody's making more than when they got that Timo Meier contract done. You're not making more than Jack Hughes. For Marchessault, him and Carlson are really the original guys. Carlson makes 5.9. How many years does Carlson have left?
Let's see.
You know that?
I just had him. Let's find him. So he has 3 more years at $5.9 million.
I mean, 3 years at 5.9. That sounds about right, doesn't it? I mean, when you include the no state tax, he gets a raise. Does he really deserve more than Carlson? I mean, I think that's really what you're looking at, not?
Yeah.
I mean, the only other option is we can give him 8 years, but then he's going to make less because of his age. So we can give him an 8 times 4 maybe, but I don't even know if that's the right move. So I would go the 3 for 5.9.
I like that. 3 for 5.9.
And maybe that's totally wrong. We're going to find out. But at the end of the day, if you're Vegas and you're sitting there like, all right, Carlson's got 3 more for 5.9. You lock both of them in. They're the original guys at the same rate. I don't think anybody can bitch in that scenario.
I agree.
Because in reality, is Carlson putting up the goal totals? No. But in terms of like all things related hockey, Carlson's probably the more valuable player.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just lock that in, and then we actually got some cap space left. So this is the most hilarious thing. You listen to all the media guys, it's like, well, the math doesn't math. Well, we just made it work, and I didn't even touch anything. We haven't made a trade, we haven't cut anybody, we haven't done anything any fits in. So don't sit here and talk to me about well they can't bring him back. What do you mean?
They sure as hell can.
I haven't traded anybody from the team. I haven't done anything. So anybody that's saying that, I don't think they know what they're talking about. Now it's a matter of let's get Stevenson done.
Yep.
And I kind of said this after the trade deadline one that I did. To me, his price tag is going to come in the JT comp for Pajot range of $5 million, right? Like that seems like what it's going to be, right?
Yep.
5 times 5. What did Comfort get?
So right around there. I
Yeah.
know Pajot is in that 5 million range, but I'll see if I can find Comfort.
He's already signed. He's not a free agent. What did Comfort sign for?
I'm gonna see if I can find if the Red Wings have his contract here. Yeah, Comfort's at 4 years left at 5.1.
And that's Detroit getting taxed.
Yep.
So, I mean, the same deal that they gave Barbashev makes way too much sense. Like, I mean, teams do this, right? We sign player for X, sign him to the Barbashev deal. I mean, no, is anybody going to complain with that one?
I don't think Stevenson will.
And at the end of the day, I think Vegas needs this player more so because this is an older team. And yes, he's not young, but he brings so much speed to the table. Like, if you really watch their team, he's fast, man. Like, he really might be their fastest skater. And when he's checking against McDavid and he's checking against these horses out west, I think you need him.
He's an X factor.
So really what we're looking at here is we're going to clear about $4 million or so to get this underway.
And
so can I sort the lines here before we do that?
Yes, let's do that. Yeah.
I think Hurdle should go at the top left.
Top left.
Stevenson in the middle. Barbashev second line left.
Barbashev second line.
Because that gives you some physical prowess. Because Hurdle and Stone were on the same line a lot last year. I don't think it totally worked just because both guys are kind of the same. You know, like big bodies.
Yep.
Great defense, you know, good in front of the net, but
not a ton of foot speed.
Yeah, not a ton of foot. Do you want both of them on the same line? I would argue no. Have a big body like Hurdle at top with Eichel and Marchessault as the shooter. I think that line actually played well in the limited time that they had last year. And then you go Carlson 3, Waz the fourth line center, and then it's a matter of figuring out the rest of the wing spots, really. Cotter's going to be your fourth line left. And then it's going to be Kolasar's fourth line right. It's a matter of getting the rest of the wing spots done and figuring out the D.
And obviously, speaking of the D, you've said that Zach Whitecloud is a very sensible candidate. You know, we have $4.7 million to move out.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you know, he's a good player, but it's just the nature of, you know, the salary cap that there's got to be casualties.
Well, not even that. They can no longer send Korczak down to the minors. So Korczak has to be added to the team. And, I mean, he was just flat out better than Whitecloud in the minutes that they played last year. So I don't know where he's at on this sheet. I think he's a restricted free agent. But
find him.
Adding him on just a normal entry-level contract, the 775, yeah, right there he is.
Yep. Let's do like 3 for 775.
Yeah,
right?
Add him as the entry-level contract. He's your third D on the right side. Theodore plays with McNabb, so that should be...
Oh, he's on the right side, right?
Yeah. And then Haig is the third. And then basically we need to trade Whitecloud because Korczak has to be in there anyway. So I don't know how this normally works on here, but
so let's find. So we'll trade what you. I know you had a post about Whitecloud. What teams did you have in mind as potential suitors?
Well, before you even trade Whitecloud, can we talk about the goalie situation first?
Oh, of course, yes.
Because so I've been talking about this as I'm sure you are well aware of for it seems like months. Aiden Hill's on an expiring contract. Logan Thompson's on an expiring contract. Kevin Weeks then recently put out a Twitter post. I don't know if you saw that both of them seem to be available. So clearing 4.9 of Aiden Hill, I mean, that gets you the space right there. And if he's getting traded, who knows what's going to happen with this goalie situation. So, I mean, those are the really two big trades that need to be done.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe we can propose like 2 or 3 trades, and then you pick one that works.
Yeah,
is the best.
I like that.
So we'll start with Hill. Now, I came up with this trade, and maybe people think it's ridiculous, but why can't the Bruins and the Golden Knights solve their goalie dilemma one player at a time here?
I read that post, and it makes a scary amount of sense. It literally makes, if you get a team like Chicago or Utah involved, it makes a scary amount of sense.
So can we do that with, I guess, maybe Calgary? Can we set that up? Because the Flames, they've given us every indication that they're not trying to win this year.
Yep.
And don't forget about this, too. The Golden Knights somehow have their first-round pick this year.
Yes, that's right.
After all of the moves, adding Hannafin, adding Hurdle, adding all of these things, they somehow have their pick. So, I mean, we have options here. That part can't be undersold.
So we have Calgary. Let's just say,
can we do a 3? Does it work 3-team trade? Does it work that way?
I thought it does, but I'm trying to find how to add a third team. But let's see. Trade away, acquire. We have Hill going out. This is usually cap friendly is good with this type.
Because I mean, let's also talk about this too. Linus Ullmark is on the trade block. That's not a secret. I just have a hard time believing that Ottawa is not on his no trade. Like, if he's blocking a trade to the Kings, you're telling me Ottawa's not on that list? Like, is anybody going to talk about that? Like, we're sitting here saying, oh, well, Ottawa's making a play for Ullmark. There's no chance that they're not on the list, right? Especially when you think about it from a financial perspective, with the Canadian taxes, there's no way they're not on the list. Well, Vegas wouldn't be retaining anything.
Oh, that's right.
So, I'm not really sure how this would work.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to figure this out. I thought cap friendly let 3-team trades happen.
Maybe it doesn't. Either way, maybe we can link the post in.
Yes.
And just go about it that way, and then add Ullmark onto the team for 50%, just as a. If you can put, is there a way
I'll give Hill away at full to Calgary, and let's just say they get a pick out of it. I'll do that now, and then like money wise, it'll work. Like,
just put it under additional details, maybe a link to the article. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. Look at that link that came up.
Yes, that's coming up. The Sean Allen.
We'll do that. We'll do that another day. Yeah, there we go. Because if Ullmark doesn't get traded to Ottawa, which I don't think can even happen,
right?
Who are they trading him to?
Jersey set. They just got Markstrom.
LA Kings got their goalie. Could they nix that trade? Who needs a goalie yet?
I don't know. I feel like Carolina, you'd be playing with fire if you gave away Nietzsche to the Bruins. I've seen people try and.
But I think that kind of thing is being talked about. Like, maybe Ullmark goes to Carolina. That means one of Carolina's goalies is available. So there's just too many guys at the end of the day. I wouldn't do it.
Let's see. I don't want to take. Oh, here we go. All right. So let's say, just do a 6th-round pick in return.
Why don't we just do it a 1-for-1 trade with Boston and have Boston retain on Ullmark? Just do it that way, and then the additional details. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because I think if you can get Ullmark at 2.5, which let's just say Boston's not the team that's actually retaining. Let's say it's going to Calgary or something like that. Yeah.
all right.
That's great.
And so now you have that's a pretty damn good goalie tandem right there.
And then maybe you can even get Ullmark extended as part of the trade where he's retained on the first. Like that's exactly what they did with Hanifin, where they got Calgary to retain. They even got Jersey to third retain, and then they got Hanifin for like $1 million, and then they extended him. They could do that here with Ullmark, technically.
Oh yeah.
So, and then if Ullmark's your starting goalie, I'm okay with that.
Oh yeah, especially in Cassidy knows him. He's gonna have a great team playing in front of him. It really would. Let's see if I can.
And if you're Ullmark, they know they're trying their best to get rid of you. Where else would you want to go?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the best situation in hockey.
You got to approve that one.
All these guys. I don't know if it would allow me to make like a 2025 extension, but let's just, in theory, it makes a lot of sense. And, for $5 million a year or whatever the price tag comes in as, it's very logical.
So now how much space we got here?
So now it's just over $3 million in the red.
All right. So we got to basically move out White Cloud.
Yeah, White Cloud and maybe even Howden.
Well, for now, before we move out Howden, just can you go back down the lines?
Oh, yeah.
Put Brisson on the left and Howden on the right. And then that's and then send Ronberg down. Can you send Ronberg down?
Yeah, I can.
Because that should be more money, right?
Let's see. Taxi squad. Put him down here.
Because if he's counting against the cap, that's not right.
Yep, and now it's 2.3. So you just move White Cloud out. So let's find him.
I mean, for all the people bitching and complaining about what are you gonna do, Vegas Golden Knights? You can't afford anybody. I mean, this doesn't seem that difficult, Bagdonas, does it?
This is elementary school type of stuff right here. Like, you could ask an 8-year-old kid to open up a computer and do this on Cap.
Let's go with the Sharks.
Yep.
Sharks seem to be eating guys. Barclay Goodrow. I mean, they want D, right?
And why don't they give Vegas their 4th rounder back? That's something Mike Greer would do.
Done.
That is definitely something Mike Greer.
Didn't Dellandrea go for a 4th rounder, right?
Yep.
There you go. Send it in.
And so you have Hutton as your 7th defenseman.
Yep.
And you have 439,000 in space. So you could feasibly move a guy like Howden out if you wanted to get a guy like Martin up, one of those bottom 6 guys.
I'm gonna say this again for all the people. What are the Golden Knights gonna do? How are they gonna afford all these guys? I brought this whole team back minus one piece. I mean,
minus
really?
The goalie.
I mean, really? What are we talking about here? And Kevin Weeks put out that tweet that teams are calling them about Hill and they're calling them about Thompson. If you can pull off some kind of trade like this, and then maybe who knows? Maybe you're going to go with Cam Talbot for $1 million in free agency instead, or maybe you bring back Brossois, who is actually all right for the team, and then he's maybe even the same price tag, or you don't have to. You could trade Hill for something that's not Ullmark. I mean,
he's a positive asset. Like, you're going to get something for him.
So I got cap space. I think I even got a goalie upgrade.
Oh, no question. You have cap space and a better goalie.
Especially in terms of durability and reliability, in terms of just being on the ice. Ullmark's way more healthy. I mean,
no question.
Aiden Hill, I think his career high in starts is like 36 in a season. So, I mean, if this is your team, and then we can even move out Howden, right? We can move out who's a veteran right winger that we can get.
I mean, you have a guy like, I think about like Victor Arvidsson. He was injured for most of the year with the Kings.
I love that.
He's a 50-point guy formerly. He's made his money.
And he's played on the third line before, right?
Yep.
Like he can. Yeah, let's do Arvidsson. I like that call a lot. I was thinking something on line A, but it seems like they're not going to get them to retain on 75%. It seems like the Blue Jackets can find a better deal than that.
Yeah, I would love that. I see the fit, and like you said, Trey, it is a waste of time for Laine to end up on some bottom-feeding team. He needs to be on a contender.
I agree. Yeah, I like the Arvidsson call.
And just like 1 year for 2.5 or something like that. Like,
how much room they got?
So right now they have 439, and Howden makes 1.9. So you'd have a little over 200 or 2 million.
Why don't we'll give them they're just dump Howden and his cap dump, and then Arvidsson can get 2.4. And that actually might be the winning bid based on how he was hurt last year.
Yep. Yeah, people might be scared of him, but he's, again, a guy that he makes a heck of a lot of sense. Here, let's see. Let's do Utah. Utah's got a boatload of picks. Let's say
take a 6th or something. 5th, I don't know.
Dallas 6th.
That's sure.
And so you have 2.33. So
see, give Arvidsson the rest.
Oh wait. Boom. Boom. And then just like that.
$9,000 left. You want to give, you can spread out the rest.
Yeah, give someone a signing bonus.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. There's your team.
And yeah, I think this is the one quiet year that Vegas might ever have, because you're looking at least back to the Cup final with this type of roster.
Oh, I did forget about Dorofeyev too, who is a restricted guy, but you can technically send down Brisson.
Yep.
And then give that $900K to Dorofeyev. But you can just leave him for now. It don't matter, right?
Yeah, but
if you scroll down to Dorofeyev, he's somewhere on here, right?
He shows up, I think, in the RFA.
He's really the only. Yeah, do you even know those other names?
Never heard of them.
They're the only one that has a stat. Look at the other stats. So
all zeros.
Yeah, so he's the only guy RFA wise. I would imagine he's not going to cost more than like $1 million. So if you want to send Brisson down and he's your
third line left.
There you go. There's your team.
Yeah, 934. So that's $900K right there for him.
Make it a 2-year deal, I guess.
Boom. And there you go.
Done.
Easy as that.
I mean, this really doesn't seem that difficult.
I am sure there is someone in the front office that has already did exactly what we did, just turned on Cap Friendly and just did it themselves. And it is incredibly incredible. It's a lot easier than, like you said, than these reporters make it out to be.
No question. And the biggest thing is, like, Kevin Weeks has already talked that the goalies are available. Teams are calling. It's the most logical way to open up cap space, really. And who knows? Like, maybe Korpisalo gets bought out, and he signs a Duchesne type of contract on a 1 year, like
$2 million.
Something like that is gonna happen. So if you dump Hill and you find another option, you can save the necessary space to get all this done. I think it's a no-brainer. And that's not even talking about Martinez, where maybe Martinez signs a Giordano contract. I don't know.
Sweetheart deal, yeah.
But I mean, this team can win the cup.
Oh, I think it's even better than the team that won the cup.
No, I agree.
It's nuts. And you've said it, Trey. Vegas has just shown everyone that they are just smarter than you. Like these GMs are too scared to think outside of the box and have these creative types of moves, but they're all there, all available. Like I don't understand how these guys are letting Kelly McCrimmon run laps around them.
The biggest question is going to be, can they get lucky at the third line right winger? Can they get somebody, maybe it's a Zucker or
a Nason?
Can they get somebody like to take this Arvidsson deal? Because Amadia was actually all right. I mean, he scored the occasional clutch for a waiver claim. He gave you a lot, especially defensively. So
he paid his dues.
If you can get like a real NHL veteran that can actually score goals in that spot,
game over.
Man,
I'm just gonna
basically everything that Anthony Mantha wasn't ever gonna do.
That's right. Oh, I completely. Wow, that. And teams. It makes me think like teams make mistakes, obviously, but Vegas, you don't see these teams kind of correct those mistakes as quickly as Vegas does.
We haven't used our first round pick. Maybe that's in play for somebody.
That's ammo. Yep.
Like I don't know. I think anybody that's overly concerned, and maybe they screw it up. Maybe they do screw it up, but I just think this is really good. This is really easy.
It's going to be a lot of fun because I think that they can go in so many different directions.
So I don't think anything else needs to be said. Let's get it.
I was looking through guys, other guys I could take that, Arvidsson deal, but I mean
Lafferty.
Yep.
I like Sam Lafferty.
He would be a good pickup. 1.1, you can just double that and welcome to the team. It's going to be interesting, Trey. I'm looking forward to it.
I think there you have it. I mean,
I'll scroll down one more time for the people to see. These are our trades, signings, and there you go. I think that's all we got.
If you're rolling with this team next year, I think you got as good as a chance as anybody to win it.
I agree. And I think about it too that, in these past years, like Vegas, last year they kind of snuck in as a wild card team. Like they could go and win the Pacific with this team. Be, top of the Western Conference, have home ice,
They did during their Stanley Cup run, and then they got off to an amazing start. I don't know if anybody remembers that. They got off to a crazy start last year, and then they kind of ran out of gas. Like you could tell the cup hangover started to get to them about mid-season. And then things went kind of south, and then they had the trade deadline, and nobody was healthy. And then it was kind of all mixed all over the place. And then they entered the playoffs, and they almost beat maybe the best team in hockey. So,
yep. I mean, next year I think it's Vegas or Dallas. Those are the two titans of the Western Conference. Obviously, Edmonton pulled through. McDavid just did some crazy stuff, but.
And I don't want to hear about this Mitch Marner nonsense. No. You bring this team back, two things are true. You have the best center ice in the league, especially if you include Hurdle in this conversation, who can, on the power plays, he's winning the faceoffs. He's winning the faceoffs. He's getting to the front of the net. There's a team out there that's got better centers than this, especially Nick Waugh. Nick Waugh's good.
And he's on the fourth line.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but Nick Waugh is a good player. I don't know who's got better center iceman than you, and I don't know who's got a better D than you.
I agree with both of those things, and I just remember when he was first traded, I think the word mutant is perfect for Hurdle. He's just a mutant.
So if you have the best center ice in the league, you got the best D in the league, and you get a goalie upgrade,
a Vezina winner,
you're going to be a tough team to beat.
It's looking more and more like it's.
And the best thing about this team is they never beat themselves. Like this team is almost overly responsible. They'll turn the puck over on purpose just to get back on D. Like you're gonna have to beat this team. Like they don't give you anything.
And you arguably have the best coach in hockey in Bruce Cassidy.
Well, they're so good in terms of just goal prevention. Like I don't know. I don't think Aiden Hill is nearly as good as the numbers he puts up.
It's a little inflated.
And I would say the same thing about Thompson. I think half of Thompson's success is he's he's
A beneficiary.
He's a lefty too, so teams don't normally see goalies with the opposite glove. Throws them off for a couple games. I don't know. I think you go in with this team. So
Yeah, I think I would be shocked if something like this did not happen. I think it's all there for the taking, honestly.
All right.
But
Nothing more needs to be said. Let's get it posted.
Yep.
Can we send a letter to the Vegas Golden Knights? Here's
yes, an open letter. Again, everyone, hope you enjoyed this video. This is what could very well happen for the Vegas Golden Knights this summer. Again, alongside hockey guy Trey, I'm Chris Bagdonas. We'll see you for the next one.